Hello and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time we did like three sexes. 3 whole sexes. So now we're going home. Oh wait. Oops. I bet that was confusing. I'm over here now. You don't have to worry. After a chaotic dash to the station and finding our seats in the otherwise deserted carriage, we promptly crashed. Looking at the time, close to midnight, it's a little surprised that few take this particular train. Hanko's fast asleep and Lily's shoulder, and I can only barely muster the energy to stay awake. The excitement we had a while ago probably didn't help. You didn't have to say that, Isao. I'd probably be pretty depressed about going back to school if my brain was actually working. Oof. Are you on the other side of the bus looking at them? This is a train. I thought that trains had facing each other seats. As it is, though, the sight of the nighttime scenery scrolling by is surprisingly beautiful. I love to look into the dark abyss. My loud yawn is nearly wholly drowned out by the clacking of the train tracks and the old carriages rattling. So tired. And whose fault is that, Hisao? You playing possum, Lily? You think you can just trick me like that? She really does toe the line between insulting and amusing sometimes, though I manage to wring out a weary smile. I look back out the window, my reflection just visible on the clear pane. Truth be told, she's perfectly correct. If it weren't for that little interlude a few hours ago, both of us would have a lot more energy. For shame. Trying to take a relaxing shower and instead you pee-pee touch. On top of that, they didn't take a shower, they took a bath. On top of that, we both had to take another bath, very nearly making us late for the train's departure. What about Hanako? Maybe Hanako wanted to take a bath. You heathens. Yeah, it was mine. Still, getting into a bath with a guy is a dangerous thing to do. Evidently. Sorry, I guess I kind of took advantage of the situation back there. No, I'm gonna let you know. Lily was fully in control. She knew what she was doing. Well, I didn't exactly hate it. As she trails off, I look back to her. Her eyes narrow as I see her slightly reddened cheeks and small grin. Her mind obviously elsewhere. Say it. I knew the possibility of it happening was there. I knew it. You're just as dirty-minded as I am. She quickly coughs into her free hand, making her disapproval crystal clear. That's a rather crude way of putting it. Oh? And you would suggest? I merely have a healthy adolescent sex drive. So in other words, dirty-minded. I think she's correct. Don't shame her. Almost seeming to sense the moment, Hanako mumbles quietly as she furrows her brow on Lily's lap. Lily's look of disapproval melts away as she gently smiles and strokes her hand on Hanako's long dark hair. Don't touch me with your filthy hand. I know what that hand has done, and where it's been. All I can do is watch and smile. If someone were to ask me when I fell in love with her, I wouldn't be able to answer. The best I'd be able to come up with is, it just happened at some point, but I didn't realize it. If someone were to ask me why I love her, though, then I could answer much more easily. You really love Hanako, don't you? She's aight. She gives a deep nod and smiling warmly. It's a pity we have to return to school. She seemed to relax so much while we were all away. I'm gonna... talk about Hanako. I wouldn't worry. Hanako's been gaining confidence thanks to you, at least for as long as I've known you two. She gives a self-deprecating sigh. Uh-oh. I think I merely provided her with company and support. Since she came to know you, she's opened up much more, even to me. I get the feeling she's understanding her influence on Hanako, especially given that before the two came to know each other, Hanako had no friends to speak of. The friends I'd had in my previous school fulfilled what I'd have expected of them. Wah. For the most part, simply being there for idle chatter, but in Hanako and Lily there really feels to be more to their relationship. A part of me envies it, but another can't ignore the fact that the school year will eventually end. After graduation, I really have no idea what Hanako will do. This trip has shown me just how much we've all come to depend on one another. Indeed, we're all going to have to make decisions. Maybe that's the reason why, despite our return to school also heralding a return to the normalcy of everyday life, I can't help but feel a little restless. On the bright side, it won't take long for the summer holidays to arrive after our exams are finished. We could come back here during the summer holidays if you want. Yeah, she knows that she could. It's her house. For a moment, she thinks on the notion, her face becoming somewhat distant. I can only guess she's reflecting on all of what's happened here. That would be good, I think. I nod approvingly, smiling at her, a gesture that is wasted because she cannot see. Summer, together with Lily. This idea seems like the perfect way to spend our holiday. Oh. Boop, 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 blah. Future. Yeah. Now I must see if I got the good ending. I don't think I have got a single good ending on the first try of this play at all. But we will see. After the excitement of our trip to Hokkaido, it seems strange to be right back to the usual daily routine so soon. Indeed, it feels like a normal day, the same as any other. Well, that's what I'd like to think anyway, but I've crossed a certain line. To tell the truth, the atmosphere of the entire the entire school has changed. While an undercurrent of subdued trepidation had previously pervaded the class, now that the exams are in sight, it's boiled over into a frantic studying rarely seen otherwise. One day until exams start. It's horrific, really, that instead of studying, we went and wasted our time up north. We were such model students, too. And now I failed, and I'm going to have to take this grade over. Goodbye, graduation. I knew thee well. Glancing around the class, even the bubbly, ever-energetic Misha seems oddly deflated. She sits at her desk, nervously chewing a pen while Muto lectures from the front of the class. Wait, on closer inspection, I do believe she's eating it. Eating her pen? I guess so. Tearing my eyes from the sorry spectacle, I turn my attention elsewhere. Misha is so quirky. She eats her pen. Hanako sits frantically scribbling in her notebook, her face mere inches away from the page, seemingly trying to record every word that leaves Muto's mouth. Shizune, cool as a cucumber, she sits diligently taking notes with her attention wholly focused on the front of the class. Truth be told, it's what I should be doing as well, if not for the fact that I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what's being covered already. I wonder how Lily's doing. While she does have a good head on her, she has plenty on her plate, unlike me. Her class representative duties, taking care of Hanako, her other social contacts, her extra English studies, that girl really does take on a lot. She busy. She got stuff she won't do. The lunchtime bell brings a sigh of relief from the entire class, Muto's being no exception. I get the feeling he much prefers the more laid-back atmosphere of his normal classes to the frantic pace of exam preparations we're subjected to right now. Hee-chan, help me. I lower my eyelids to half-mast. I've only ever heard half-mast in reference to having, like, a semi pee-pee hard. making clear my intention of doing quite the opposite.
Help me, help me, help me.
Not going well?
I've eaten my whole pin, I need another one. Hee-chan's going to be fine, but I think I might die. Am I going to die, Hee-chan? Will you let me die from all this work?
How maudlin. Given that she's neither the brightest student in the class nor the most diligent, it isn't a great surprise that she's finding it hard to cope with the workload. Sorry, Misha, but I've got my own work to do. I thought you and Shizune would be studying together over the long weekend anyway.
Studying's too boring to waste a holiday on, Hee-chan. Shopping together was much more fun, wasn't it, Hee-chan?
It's only now that I realize Hee-chan's been looking over to us and that Misha's arms have been moving likely all this time. I must be really zoned out to have not noticed. You got things on the mind. You're a high schooler. You think about things. What is it with girls and shopping anyway? Even Lily and Hanako have dragged me out with them a couple of times.
But you went anyway. It's so rare to see a guy that likes going shopping.
Is it? Well, my role would probably be best described as pack mule. I can't say I share your enthusiasm about the experience. Back to the exams. You studied after you got back from the days off, didn't you, Shizune? You say that guys don't like shopping, but have you seen their Steam libraries? I bet you that any male watching this has at least 100 games in their Steam library, and I bet that they haven't even played them all. At me. Do it. You won't.
Of course, Hee-chan. It's only sensible to study in the days before. Ugh.
Misha makes a sound vaguely similar to a dying cow as she realizes her folly and unceremoniously flops on her desk, betrayed even by her best friend. Judging from Shizune's quite frustrated look at Misha, she probably told her to study as she did. Don't worry, you can still gain some grades if you start studying now. Maybe. Misha does not seem overly amused. It seems the bubbly balloon of everlasting cheerfulness has been cruelly popped. Shizune's signing goes unnoticed by the moping Misha, earning her a quick poke in the shoulder. It takes barely a moment for Misha to get back into form.
Oh, so what did you do over the weekend, Hee-chan?
Just took a trip up north with Lily and Hanako. It was pretty nice. You fucked my cousin! I see both of them narrowing their eyes at me, their minds surely in the gutter, and they're right to be, because they're correct. The fact that their suspicions are founded makes the situation all the more awkward. We just studied and went sightseeing. There's nothing more to it. Why would you lie? They already know. After such a flagrant lie, I realize that it may not have been the best step, considering Shizune's connection and her total lack of restraint when it comes to questioning someone who she suspects of telling untruths, also known as lies. I really have no idea of how she's going to take it, but she'll find out eventually anyway. It isn't as if it's really her business whom I date in any case. And yes, Lily and I are going out now. We have decided after I have, hoed those plowed the fields, that, she shall be my garden. While Misha receives the news with an enthusiastic smile, Shizune gives a look of mild surprise, somewhat masked by her cold demeanor.
Whoever you date is your business. I hope you two go well together.
Misha gives a look that says this is the most quarter I could possibly receive on the matter. It's all I wanted really, is for her to mind her own fucking business. After she says this though, Shizune begins to sign something else, then stops herself and shakes her head at Misha to prevent her from translating. Oh. Normally I'd think this strange enough, but the awkwardly casual wave Shizune gives before walking off with Misha in tow adds to my confusion. Shizune is hardly the kind of person to pull a punch or communicate without forethought. I shrug my shoulders at the duo's odd behavior and look towards Hanako's desk, but see that her chair's empty. She was definitely here before, so I guess she just didn't feel like waiting. I'll go grab some food alone then, by myself, with no one. By myself. Walking down the hallway to the unused room that's become a second home to 3 students in particular, won't name any names, I mournfully look down at the plastic-wrapped salad roll and juice box in my hand. The cafeteria's food really is unappetizing. Maybe I'll consider this my penance for my recent indiscretions. Why is the cafeteria food always so bad? Don't you guys have like a pizza day or something? I feel like my school lunches weren't horrible. Like, they weren't great, but like, they were pretty okay. Opening the door, I noticed one less quiet figure than I'd expected. Oh, where'd Hanako go? Oh my god. What's gonna happen to Hanako? It's strange, despite having known Lily for months, I can't help thinking back to the very first time I opened this door and saw her silently sitting in the sunlight. Just as she did then, she slowly opens her eyes, unmoving as they are, and calmly addresses me.
Good morning, Hisao.
It's afternoon, I think.
Time is nothing. It is a construct of human beings. Do not ever correct me again, or I swear to God.
Has Hanako been around? She's skittered out of class without me even noticing. Lily cradles her cheek thoughtfully as I take a seat, my bag taking its place against the closest leg of the table and my unsatisfying meal neatly set out in front of me.
She did appear, for a time. She said she had to study for the upcoming exams and left for the library.
We find ourselves not entirely believing her words. Well, at least her intentions are in the right place.
She is sweet, but she needn't go this far to let us have our space. I might talk to her about it sometime.
Probably for the best. For a while, we quietly eat our meals, Lily elegantly nibbling on her sandwiches and sipping her tea as I eat what tastes like a garden sandwich in dry dough. Wow. Isn't that, like, not a bad thing? If you like vegetables and stuff, you like the fresh tastes like leaves and dirt. The atmosphere feels slightly strange, neither of us knowing quite what to say to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Evidently, we both finish our food with no conversation forthcoming for quite some time. Eventually, though, Lily's soft voice breaks the silence.
A lot happened back there, didn't it?
Again, silence. With both our minds on the same topic, though, I think I have my feelings on that sorted out. I know everything happened in kind of a hurry, but I don't regret anything that happened in Hokkaido. Not one thing, especially not the sex.
Hisao?
Slightly tense, I take her hands in mine, half to feel her, half to settle my own nerves. I stand by my words back there, Lily. I love you and I won't leave you. I only wish for you to think the same.
Well, actually, I was thinking that you are quite the burden on me and that, I would like you to leave. Right now. I am regret and I am made a mistake.
She silently reflects for a long time, which feels like an eternity.
I am leaving now.
Her reverie comes to an end as she takes one hand from mine, placing it over them as she leans her body forwards and stands out of her chair. After a moment's hesitation, her face slightly pensive, her lips meet mine for a brief moment. You ain't gonna meet her halfway? You know she can't see where your face is. So inconsiderate. My mind feels as if it briefly stopped at that moment, barely registering Lily sitting back in her chair and smiling back at me with ever so slightly reddened cheeks.
Hearing that makes me very happy, Hisao. I'll be glad to stay with you. But I'm moving. Bye.
Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit. Compared to before, we still have school after all and our exams. She gives a mischievous giggle which proves to be contagious.
That might be a good idea indeed. Do you think you'll fare well in your exams? It's only one day until they arrive, as you say.
They arrive? I probably should have studied more, but I think I've got a good enough head to manage. That said, I had to bat off Misha and Shizune. Is your class as worried about the exams as mine? She lets out an exasperated sigh, but all but confirming it. I'm thankful for the atmosphere becoming a bit lighter.
I think so. I've already been asked for help by 2 of my classmates, and there'll no doubt be more.
Think of it as your first training in being a teacher, maybe.
That's probably a good way to think of it. On that note, how are you faring in your English studies? I remember it was far from your strongest subject, and the few sentences you memorized to speak
to my mother aren't likely to help. Damn, right on the mark. You got me. If you don't mind, would you be able to possibly help me in that regard, please? It would be my pleasure to help you, Hisao, but in exchange... I don't know if I like where this is going. She lowers her eyebrows at me, her coquettish nature tentatively coming to the fore. No problem at all. You'll probably be better off with some help in your studies, though. She beams a smile at me, one of girlish victory that nearly makes me blush. I get the feeling she's aware of how to use her face and twist my judgment, so I should probably be more on guard. Here and now, though, a study group seems like an expedient way for both of us to shore up our more lacking skills. The school bell rings out, reminding us that time isn't going to stand still, which is whack. Huh, lunchtime's over already. It sure is easy to lose track of the time here. This room's so far from the other clubs and activities, not much sound can reach us. That's probably most of the reason why. A place far from all the others, alone with just one person whom she loves. As Lily stands and collects her bag and cane, my thoughts are cast back to the time we spent in Hokkaido. Before I go, Akira are having a homecoming party in my room tomorrow. Will you be able to come? And back again. My schedule is free, so I should be able to make enough room in my study time to make it. Good to hear, Hisao. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're back from Scotland. Once exams are over, we should have more time to ourselves. Holidays start soon after, too. We can start the holidays with Tanabata, then. Don't know what that is. Just as we promised at the school festival. Is that a food? She brings her hand to her cheek and laughs slightly nervously, recalling the event as I silently thank myself for managing to remember. It seems odd to see her react in such a way, though it's not like I never saw her embarrassed before. I'd better be going. Farewell, Hisao. Bye. Whether it's out of habit or just a stubborn desire for one small fragment of normality, I hold my hand up in farewell just as I always do. At least I'm consciously aware that I'm doing it now. I think I'm beginning to see a bigger picture than I ever have before, not only with Lily but my life ahead. The chains of my past are finally breaking. Alright, so I think that's gonna do it for this video. Yes. So, we talked to Shizune about dating her cousin. She gave us her blessing, pretty much. And then we acted awkward because everybody knows that we PP touched with Lily, and now they have to be weird about it. So, that's where we are. And, yeah, I think we're gonna go to their little homecoming party or whatever. And I think maybe I finally got a good ending on my first try with Lily. Maybe. I might be speaking too soon. Maybe that this is where we're gonna have a bit of a little fight and get the neutral end or something. I don't know. We shall see. And I will see everyone in the next video.